Did you know there's a habit so widespread that it's probably part of your daily routine without you paying attention to it, and it's causing inflammation in your prostate while you read this? If you're over 60 years old, what I'm going to share with you in the next few minutes has the potential to radically transform your well being and save you decades of discomfort you don't have to endure. Hundreds of thousands of men make this mistake every morning, experiencing those discomforts when emptying the bladder, waking up multiple times during the early morning to visit the bathroom, living with that distressing feeling of not being able to completely eliminate urine, and all because no one has clearly revealed to them what's deteriorating their prostate from inside their body. Hello, I'm Dr. Selena Clarke, and today I want to talk to you about the 10 most destructive behaviors that are making your prostate grow without you being aware of it. And trust me, when I assure you that the 10th of these points is really going to impact you, because it's something that practically everyone does, believing it's completely innocent, but in reality, it's generating silent and continuous deterioration that increases with the passage of time. In this content, I'm going to show you precisely what you need to eliminate from your life, what modifications you can implement starting right now to safeguard your prostate, and in what way you can recover that peace of mind of resting all night without interruptions and existing without that permanent worry every time you feel the need to urinate. Before starting, give it a like, subscribe, and activate the bell because this channel is here to improve your life and your health. Now, yes, let's begin. Behavior number 10, that's harming your prostate, is something that numerous men practice with the best possible intentions, but that ends up being totally harmful, consuming insufficient amounts of water throughout the day. I understand it sounds paradoxical because many individuals reason that if they reduce liquid intake, they're going to decrease urination frequency, and this way they'll avoid those constant visits to the bathroom, particularly during nighttime hours. But let me clarify why this is precisely the opposite of what your prostate requires to stay healthy. When your water intake is insufficient, your urine transforms into a much denser liquid, with more intense tonality, with greater acidity, and full of concentrated minerals and waste substances. This concentrated urine causes irritation in the internal walls of your bladder. And considering that the prostate is anatomically located right below the bladder, surrounding it in circular form, that irritation is transmitted immediately to the prostatic gland tissue. Sustained irritation over time triggers inflammatory processes, and chronically maintained inflammation represents one of the fundamental causes of prostatic growth, known in medical terms as benign prostatic hyperplasia. Additionally, when your body is experiencing dehydration, it cannot expel toxins with the necessary efficiency, and those toxic substances are deposited in body tissues, specifically including the prostate, causing progressive swelling, diverse discomforts, and additional pressure on the urethra, which is the channel through which urine is expelled outward. Many men in advanced ages are also consuming medications to control blood pressure, to care for the heart, or for other pathologies, and some of these drugs have diuretic properties or can cause moderate dehydration, which considerably aggravates the problem. The solution is quite simple, but demands constancy and discipline. You must ingest water distributed throughout the entire day in small sips, even when you don't experience the sensation of thirst, because the perception of thirst diminishes with aging and doesn't always function as a reliable indicator that your body needs hydration. An excellent way to determine if your hydration is adequate is to carefully observe the color of your urine. It should be transparent or an extremely pale yellow, almost crystalline. If you notice your urine has a dark tonality or gives off an intense odor, it's a clear signal that you need to increase your water consumption. You shouldn't fear maintaining good hydration because adequate water consumption not only protects your prostate, but also optimizes your blood circulation, your kidney function, your energy levels, and your health in all aspects. Behavior number 9 that's deteriorating your prostate is staying in a sitting position for extended periods without making any movement. I understand perfectly that after turning 60, the sofa becomes much more attractive, and that frequently the body demands rest after a lifetime of intense work. But spending prolonged hours sitting watching television, reading the newspaper, or simply resting in the same posture can be generating considerable damage to your prostate without you perceiving it. When you remain seated for prolonged intervals, constant pressure is generated in your entire pelvic region, directly including the prostate, and this pressure diminishes blood flow to the gland. The prostate requires optimal blood circulation to stay healthy, to receive the nutrients and oxygen it needs, and to eliminate cellular metabolic waste. When circulation is significantly reduced, prosthetic tissues don't obtain what they require and begin to develop inflammatory processes. Additionally, constant pressure on the pelvic area also harms the pelvic floor muscles, which are the muscular structures that support the bladder and contribute to controlling the act of urinating. These muscles weaken when they remain inactive for prolonged time, and when they're weak, the bladder doesn't empty completely, always leaving a residual urine remnant that irritates both the bladder and the prostate. Men who spend most of their day in a sitting position have a much higher risk of developing prostatic pathologies, and this risk increases even more if they also have excess weight or if they maintain a sedentary lifestyle in general terms. The solution doesn't imply that you completely abandon rest or that you transform yourself into a high-performance athlete overnight, but simply that you incorporate regular movement distributed throughout the day. A simple and extremely effective rule is to stand up every 30 minutes and walk at least 2 or 3 minutes. It can be just to the kitchen to pour a glass of water, to the garden to breathe fresh air, or simply take a small walk around your home. This simple but consistent movement keeps blood circulating adequately, relieves accumulated pressure on the prostate, strengthens pelvic muscles, and improves your general health in ways you can't even imagine. Behavior number 8 that's affecting your prostate is excessive consumption of caffeine, and I recognize this can be complicated to accept for many because coffee is an integral part of the daily routine of so many people, especially in our cultures where a morning cup of coffee is practically a sacred ritual. But let me explain precisely what effects caffeine produces in your urinary system and why it can be problematic if you already have prostatic sensitivity or gland enlargement. Caffeine functions as an extremely potent natural diuretic, which means it forces your kidneys to produce larger amounts of urine than usual, overloading your bladder and increasing the frequency with which you experience the need to go to the bathroom. For a man with an enlarged prostate, this can be particularly bothersome because the prostate is already exerting pressure on the urethra, making urine flow passage difficult, and when there's more urine accumulating with greater frequency, pressure increases and symptoms worsen noticeably. But caffeine not only increases urine production, it also stimulates your bladder muscles, causing them to contract with greater frequency and more intensity, which generates that sensation of urgency, that sudden and intense need to go to the bathroom immediately, and in some situations can even cause small, involuntary urine losses. Additionally, caffeine contracts the muscles located in the bladder neck, which is the area where the bladder connects with the urethra, and this contraction makes complete bladder emptying difficult, causing a residual urine remnant to always remain, which irritates the prostate even more and creates a vicious cycle of inflammation and discomfort. Men who consume multiple cups of coffee daily, or who also ingest other beverages containing caffeine like black tea, energy drinks, or cola sodas, are subjecting their prostate to constant stress that accumulates over time. I'm not suggesting you eliminate coffee completely if you really enjoy it and consider it important, but moderation is absolutely fundamental and non-negotiable. 1 cup in the morning generally doesn't cause serious problems, but several cups distributed throughout the entire day can be significantly worsening your urinary symptoms. Try to substitute the 2nd or 3rd cup of coffee with a caffeine-free herbal infusion, with water with lemon slices, or simply with plain water, and observe for 1 or 2 weeks if you perceive any improvement in urinary frequency, in urgency, or in your ability to rest all night without waking up. Frequently, small adjustments like this can generate an enormous difference in your daily quality of life. Behavior number 7 that's harming your prostate is regular consumption of excessively seasoned, spicy, and highly processed foods. Our gastronomy is extraordinarily rich in intense flavors, in varied spices, and in ingredients that transform each meal into a delicious experience for the palate. But when it comes specifically to your prostate health, excesses in this sense can be generating really serious problems. Excessively spicy foods, especially those containing abundant amounts of black pepper, red pepper, chili, hot sauces, and strong seasonings, can increase inflammation throughout your body. And this systemic inflammation directly affects sensitive organs like the prostate. An occasionally spicy dish at a special celebration or festive meal generally doesn't cause important problems, but when these foods constitute part of your daily diet, they're constantly irritating a prostate that may already be sensitive or inflamed. Processed foods represent an even greater danger to prosthetic health because they're full of artificial ingredients that your body doesn't recognize and can't process efficiently. Packaged snacks, salty crackers, cold cuts like sausages, mortadella, and processed ham, Frozen ready-to-heat meals, industrial pizzas, nuggets, fast food hamburgers, and all those products that come in colorful packages with extensive ingredient lists you can't even pronounce correctly are loaded with chemical preservatives, artificial colorings, excessive amounts of sodium, trans fats, added sugars, and other additives that not only harm your health in general terms, but specifically affect your hormonal balance. Excess salt, for example, causes fluid retention throughout the body, and this retention increases pressure in the urinary system, including both the bladder and the prostate. Trans-unsaturated fats that abound in processed foods can affect your testosterone levels and other sex hormones, and since the prostate is an extremely sensitive organ to hormonal changes, these imbalances can directly contribute to its progressive growth. If most of your meals come more from packages or boxes than from fresh and natural ingredients, your prostate is definitely paying a high price. The solution consists of prioritizing nutrition based on real natural foods with anti-inflammatory properties. Fresh vegetables of all possible colors, seasonal fruits, fish rich in omega-3 fatty acids like salmon, sardines, and tuna, nuts like walnuts and almonds, pumpkin seeds, which are especially beneficial for prosthetic health, good quality extra virgin olive oil, varied legumes, whole grains, and lean proteins. Healthy eating doesn't have to be boring or bland. It simply has to be balanced, varied, and based on ingredients your body recognizes and can use to repair itself and stay strong and vital. Later, I'll reveal the most transformative advice of all, so don't leave because what's truly valuable comes at the end. Before revealing the third habit, if you've made it this far, write in the comments the word strength or a short phrase like, I take care of my prostate. That way, I'll know who's part of this community, and remember to subscribe if you haven't already. Behavior number 6 that's damaging your prostate is something absolutely everyone has done at some point. But that when it transforms into a habitual pattern can cause considerable damage, holding urine when you experience the urge to go to the bathroom. I understand that sometimes we're busy with some activity, we're in the middle of something important, we're in a place where there's no bathroom available, or we simply don't want to interrupt what we're doing at that moment. But when you hold urine habitually and for prolonged periods, you're subjecting your bladder and your prostate to pressure they're not anatomically designed to withstand. When the bladder fills beyond its comfortable and natural capacity, it expands. And when expanding, it presses everything around it, specifically including the prostate that's located right below it. This constant and repeated pressure irritates prostatic tissue, causes inflammatory processes, and over time contributes to progressive gland enlargement. Additionally, older men are particularly vulnerable to this problem because the muscles that control the bladder and urinary sphincter naturally weaken with age. And when these muscles are weakened and are also being constantly forced by holding urine, they lose even more strength and efficiency in their functioning. Holding urine can also lead to incomplete bladder emptying because when you finally go to the bathroom after holding for a long time, the bladder is so distended and the muscles are so fatigued that they can't contract completely to expel all the urine, always leaving a remnant. This residual urine that remains stagnant in the bladder creates a perfect environment for bacterial proliferation, which can lead to urinary tract infections. And these infections greatly irritate the prostate, causing additional inflammation, intense pain, fever, and complications that may require treatment with strong antibiotics. To protect your prostate from this cumulative and progressive damage, it's fundamental that you carefully listen to your body's signals and go to the bathroom as soon as you feel the need, without unnecessarily postponing. Don't wait until the urgency is unbearable or until you feel pain or discomfort. Going to the bathroom regularly, approximately every 2 or 3 hours during the day, is one of the best defenses you have to keep your bladder and your prostate healthy and functioning correctly. Always remember that the bladder and prostate work as a team. They're connected both anatomically and functionally, and when one suffers, the other inevitably also suffers the negative consequences. Behavior number 5 that's seriously affecting your prostate is smoking or regularly living with people who smoke in your environment. Tobacco is one of the worst enemies of your health in general terms, but specifically for the prostate, its effects are devastating and cumulative over time. The thousands of toxic chemical substances that cigarette smoke contains, including nicotine, tar, carbon monoxide, heavy metals, and compounds with carcinogenic properties, dramatically reduce blood flow throughout the body, and this includes blood flow to your prostate. When the prostate doesn't receive enough oxygenated blood, its cells can't function properly, can't repair themselves when they suffer damage, can't effectively defend against infections, and begin to progressively inflame. Tobacco also enormously increases oxidative stress throughout your body, which is basically the damage that free radicals cause to your cells, harming your body's natural ability to repair damaged tissues and to effectively combat inflammation. Over time, this constant and accumulated oxidative damage results not only in prostatic inflammation and gland growth, but also in a much higher risk of developing prostate cancer, which is one of the most common and concerning forms of cancer in older men. Scientific studies have repeatedly demonstrated that smokers have significantly higher rates of prostatic problems, including chronic prostatitis, benign prostatic hyperplasia, and aggressive type prostate cancer. For men, your age. These damages accumulate much more rapidly because your cellular repair system is no longer as efficient as when you were young. Cigarettes also drastically decrease the levels of essential vitamins and antioxidants in your body, especially vitamin C, vitamin E, and other nutrients. Your prostate needs to stay healthy and protected against cellular damage. Even if you quit smoking many years ago, being regularly exposed to secondhand smoke, for example, if you live with someone who smokes, or if you spend time in environments where people smoke, can still significantly negatively affect your prosthetic health. If you still smoke, I urge you strongly to talk to your doctor about the different options available to quit tobacco, including nicotine replacement therapies like patches or gum, medications that reduce anxiety and cravings. Support groups where you can share experiences, behavioral therapies, and natural treatments that have helped millions of people free themselves from this destructive addiction. The benefits of quitting smoking begin almost immediately. Within days, your circulation starts to improve noticeably. In a few weeks, inflammation in your body decreases considerably, and over time, your prostate can begin to recover and reduce its size. If you never smoked, completely avoid any exposure to tobacco smoke, and this simple but powerful decision can guarantee you many additional years of better prosthetic health, better urinary function, and better quality of life in general. Wait, because the most impactful comes at the end, so stay with me until the last revealing advice. Behavior number 4, that's harming your prostate, is avoiding regular medical consultations and routine preventive checkups. Many men have the tendency to only seek medical help when something really bothers them intensely, when pain is unbearable, when symptoms are so severe they can no longer ignore them. But this reactive attitude instead of preventive is extremely dangerous, particularly after turning 60. The prostate can be silently enlarging, progressively inflaming, developing problems that in their initial stages don't cause obvious symptoms or evident pain that calls your attention. Regular medical consultations, annual checkups, and specific prostate exams allow detecting problems in their early stages when they're still relatively easy to treat, when simple lifestyle changes can be sufficient to reverse the situation. When mild medications can be effective, and when there hasn't yet been permanent or irreversible damage. Exams like the digital rectal exam, which I understand may seem uncomfortable but only takes a few seconds and isn't painful at all, and the PSA blood test, which measures prostate-specific antigen, are quick, non-invasive diagnostic tools that literally can save your life by early detecting prostate cancer, chronic inflammation, infections, or abnormal growths that haven't yet caused perceptible symptoms. Skipping these routine consultations means losing extremely valuable opportunities to act preventively, to receive personalized guidance about your specific and individual situation, to make timely adjustments before problems become serious and difficult to manage. Some might feel embarrassed or uncomfortable talking about urinary problems, about sexual difficulties, or about discomfort in the genital area. But believe me when I assure you that doctors are completely accustomed to these conversations, that they're totally normal and necessary, and that the sooner you speak openly about your symptoms, the more options you'll have to treat them naturally and effectively. Postponing medical consultations, ignoring initial symptoms, or minimizing discomfort can allow minor and easily manageable problems to become serious situations, requiring aggressive treatments like acute urinary retention, needing emergency catheterization, severe prosthetic infections, requiring prolonged hospitalizations, or even invasive surgeries that could have been completely avoided. I strongly recommend you visit your doctor at least once a year for a complete and thorough evaluation of your prosthetic health, even if you don't have evident symptoms at this moment. This time, investment, and this preventive decision not only will give you invaluable peace of mind, but it's a powerful tool for protecting your long-term health. If something is detected early during these checkups, many times simple changes in diet and physical activity level, in stress management, or natural supplements are sufficient to resolve the problem without needing strong medications or complicated surgical interventions. Don't wait until symptoms are unbearable. Don't wait to have blood in your urine. Don't wait to not be able to urinate at all. Preventive care, constant vigilance, and open and honest communication with your doctor are the most intelligent and most valuable habits any mature man can adopt to guarantee many years of active, comfortable life free from unnecessary suffering. Before revealing what's coming, give it a like and subscribe with the bell, because that way we can continue creating more videos for your health and well-being. Behavior number 3 that's enlarging your prostate is excessive and frequent consumption of red meat, especially meat that has been industrially processed. Red meat has been a basic food in many cultures for entire generations. It's an important source of proteins, iron, and other essential nutrients, but when consumed in excess, especially in the form of processed meats like bacon, sausages, chorizos, cold cuts, cured ham, and other meats that have been treated with salt, preservatives, and various chemicals, it can be significantly contributing to your prostate growth and to the development of chronic inflammation in your body. Multiple large-scale scientific studies conducted in different countries have demonstrated a clear and consistent relationship between high red meat consumption and increase in prostatic problems, including benign prostatic hyperplasia, chronic prostatitis, and prostate cancer. The reasons are several and all extremely important. Red meats, especially when cooked at high temperatures like on the grill or fried in oil, contain significant amounts of saturated fats that promote inflammation throughout the body, specifically including the prostate. Additionally, during cooking at high temperatures, chemical compounds called heterocyclic amines and polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons are formed, which are potentially carcinogenic substances that have been specifically related to prostate cancer development. Processed meats are even more dangerous because in addition to saturated fats and compounds generated during cooking, they contain nitrates and nitrites, which are chemical preservatives that convert in the body into compounds called nitrosamines, which are also potentially carcinogenic and which increase systemic inflammation throughout your body. These chemicals and these fats can unbalance your sex hormones, especially affecting testosterone and estrogen metabolism, hormones that play a fundamental role in regulating prostate size and function. High red meat consumption also increases oxidative stress in your body, damaging cells and reducing your body's natural ability to repair damaged tissues and combat infections effectively. Additionally, red meat digestion is slower and more difficult for the digestive system, especially as we age, and our production of digestive enzymes naturally decreases, and this slow digestion can contribute to weight gain, especially around the waist, which in turn presses pelvic organs, including the prostate. You don't need to become vegetarian overnight or completely eliminate meat from your diet if you really enjoy it and consider it important, but significantly reducing its consumption to once or twice a week. Choosing lean cuts and healthier cooking methods like boiling, baking, or steaming instead of frying or grilling can make an enormous difference in your prosthetic health. Try to substitute red meat with healthier proteins with anti-inflammatory properties like fatty fish rich in omega-3, grilled chicken or turkey without skin, good quality eggs from naturally fed hens, legumes like lentils, chickpeas and beans, tofu, tempeh, and other nutritious vegetable proteins. Try incorporating more meals based mainly on plants, rich in fiber, vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants like varied vegetable soups, legumes, stews, abundant salads with seeds and nuts, and colorful dishes full of nutrients that support your prostate health instead of progressively damaging it. These dietary changes will not only directly benefit your prostate, but will also improve your digestion, your body weight, your daily energy, your cardiovascular health, and your general well-being in all aspects, giving you more vitality and better quality of life. In a few minutes, you'll discover something that completely transforms what you thought you knew about prosthetic health. Behavior number 2 that's seriously affecting your prostate is carrying excess body weight, especially accumulated around the waist and abdomen. As we age, it's completely natural that our metabolism becomes a bit slower, that we lose some muscle mass, and that it's easier to gain weight and harder to lose it. But that extra weight, especially when concentrated in the abdominal area, forming what's commonly called a belly or punch, isn't only an aesthetic or physical appearance matter, but an extremely important warning signal for multiple health problems, including really serious prostate problems. Abdominal fat, also known medically as visceral fat because it accumulates around internal organs, isn't inert or inactive, but is metabolically very active and constantly produces inflammatory chemical substances called cytokines, which circulate throughout your body through the bloodstream, reaching all your organs, specifically including the prostate. This chronic low-grade inflammation, which doesn't produce evident symptoms at first but is constantly maintained for years and decades, irritates the prostate, promotes its progressive growth, contributes to benign prostatic hyperplasia, and significantly increases the risk of developing prostate cancer. Scientific studies have repeatedly demonstrated that men with larger waists, generally above 100 centimeters circumference, have a much higher probability of having enlarged prostate, of experiencing bothersome urinary symptoms like frequent nighttime urination, intense urgency, weak stream, and incomplete bladder emptying, and also of having erection problems because excess abdominal fat negatively affects blood circulation throughout the entire pelvic area. Additionally, excess body weight, especially abdominal fat, profoundly unbalances your complete hormonal system. Visceral fat contains an enzyme called aromatase that converts testosterone into estrogen, and although men need some estrogen for normal body functions, an excess of this hormone in relation to testosterone can stimulate prostate growth and cause other various health problems. At the same time, being overweight reduces free testosterone levels, which is the active and useful form of this hormone, and this hormonal imbalance directly affects the size, function, and general health of the prostate. Abdominal fat also physically presses your bladder, your prostate, and other pelvic organs, mechanically worsening pressure on the urethra and making normal urine flow even more difficult. The extraordinary good news is that you don't need to lose all the extra weight at once, or need to do extreme, restrictive, or long-term unsustainable diets. Even a modest weight loss of only 5 to 10% of your current body weight can produce really notable improvements in your urinary symptoms, in your hormonal function, in your daily energy, and in your general health. The solution is in slow, constant, and long-term sustainable improvements. A daily walk of 20 or 30 minutes at moderate pace, slightly smaller portions at each meal without going hungry, progressive reduction of refined sugar and flour consumption, more colorful vegetables on each plate, more water distributed during the day, and better quality nighttime sleep. These simple but consistent changes can begin to melt that dangerous abdominal fat gradually, but extremely effectively. Maintaining a healthy waist, generally below 100 centimeters for men, is one of the best long-term strategies not only for prosthetic health, but to prevent type 2 diabetes, cardiovascular diseases, arterial hypertension, and many other chronic conditions that dramatically affect quality of life in mature and advanced age. Number 1 will really surprise you and can completely change your perspective, so pay close attention to what's coming. And now, we arrive at behavior number 1, the most important, the most dangerous, and the most ignored of all. The habit that the vast majority of men overlook without giving it importance, but that is the most destructive factor for your prostate health. Not controlling the chronic stress you carry day after day. Stress is that sensation of tension, anxiety, worry, or pressure that absolutely everyone experiences at different moments in life and in small doses. Stress is completely normal. It can even be useful because it keeps us alert and motivates us to solve problems and face challenges. But when stress becomes chronic, when it's maintained day after day, week after week, month after month, without relief or adequate rest, it transforms into a silent but devastating inflamer of your entire body, and the prostate is one of the organs that most suffers its destructive consequences. When you live constantly anxious, tense, worried, irritable, with fear, with recurring negative thoughts, or with a feeling of being overwhelmed by circumstances, your body remains in a state of constant alert, as if it were facing a permanent and imminent threat. This alert state activates your sympathetic nervous system, also known as the fight-or-flight system, and makes your adrenal glands constantly release stress hormones, mainly cortisol and adrenaline. In acute and temporary stress situations, these hormones are useful because they give you energy and prepare you to act quickly. But when they're chronically released for prolonged periods, they cause extremely serious cumulative damage in multiple systems. Constantly elevated cortisol causes systemic inflammation throughout your body, weakens your immune system, making you more vulnerable to infections and diseases, alters your hormonal balance, negatively affecting testosterone production and metabolism, increases insulin resistance, promoting abdominal weight gain, raises your blood pressure, and negatively affects the quality and depth of your nighttime sleep. All these effects of chronic stress have a direct and devastating impact on your prostate in multiple ways. Chronic inflammation caused by constantly elevated cortisol irritates prostatic tissue and promotes its progressive growth. Constant muscular tension that accompanies stress affects pelvic floor muscles, which are directly involved in urination control. And when these muscles are tense and chronically contracted, they restrict blood flow to the prostate, irritate sensitive nerves in the pelvic area, and make complete bladder emptying difficult, worsening all urinary symptoms you may already be experiencing. The immune system weakened by chronic stress significantly reduces your body's ability to combat inflammation and infections in the prostate, allowing minor and easily manageable problems to become chronic prostatitis or extremely difficult to treat recurrent infections. Hormonal imbalances caused directly by stress affect the delicate balance between testosterone and estrogen that carefully regulates prostate size and function. Mature men frequently carry stress silently, many times without even recognizing it consciously or talking about it with someone. Financial worries about retirement or about saving stability, family problems, or conflicts with children or grandchildren, health issues of their own or of their partner. Loneliness and social isolation, loss of purpose or identity after retirement, fear of dependence or death, chronic pain in other parts of the body that doesn't resolve. All this emotional and psychological stress accumulates, somatizes, and physically manifests in many ways, and one of the most common and problematic is in prostatic problems. More frequent urination, especially at night, pain or burning when urinating, intense and sudden urgency, difficulty starting to urinate, weak and discontinuous stream, dripping after urinating, and persistent prostate swelling. But here's the hopeful, powerful, and transformative news. Stress is something you can actively control and manage if you develop the right habits and commit to your emotional well-being. You don't need to completely eliminate all sources of stress from your life because that's practically impossible in the modern world. But you can change your response to stress and develop mental and emotional resilience. Simple but deeply effective habits like practicing deep and conscious breathing for 5 or 10 minutes a day, doing light but regular exercises like walking in the park, swimming, or gentle stretching, dedicating a few daily minutes to silence or meditation, maintaining significant and nourishing social connections with friends or family, finding activities that give you pleasure and purpose like hobbies. Volunteering or learning new skills, sleeping sufficient hours each night with good quality restorative sleep, laughing more frequently, seeing the positive side of situations, and if necessary, seeking professional help from a specialized psychologist or therapist. These habits can drastically reduce your circulating cortisol levels, decrease systemic inflammation, strengthen your immune system, balance your sex hormones, and specifically help reduce your prostatic symptoms naturally, sustainably, and without side effects. Managing stress isn't a luxury or something optional or secondary. It's not just to feel mentally better, but it's fundamental to heal your body from the inside out, to protect your prostate from progressive damage, to live more years with better quality of life, and to fully enjoy this stage of your life that should be one of accumulated wisdom, tranquility, and personal satisfaction. This change in your stress management can be the most powerful, transformative, and significant step you can take today to stop your prostate growth, alleviate your urinary symptoms, and recover your well-being, your energy, and your vitality in all aspects of your daily life. If you've made it this far, write champion or a phrase like, "I take care of my health" in the comments to know who made it to the end. Don't forget to give it a like, subscribe, and activate the bell so you don't miss future videos. Share this video with your family and friends because it can change their lives for the better. And now watch this video that appears on screen, because if you don't watch it, everything learned here won't serve you at all.